Good day. Today, I will be talking about quality assurance in technology-mediated flexible teaching and learning in the digital times. Remembering the past years, COVID-19 brought about a realization of the effectiveness of technology-mediated flexible teaching and learning. Lockdowns, face-to-face learning and teaching banned. For how long? No one had the answer at that time. There were a lot of challenges and there were numerous registered complaints from the education administrators, teachers, learners, parents, and guardians, and other stakeholders. Remember, they were lack of equity, increase of digital divide, low digital literacy, drop in enrollment, lack of academic freedom, setting aside of Filipino cultural identity, transfer of students from private schools to public schools, closing down of some private schools due to lack of operating funds, many parents not financially prepared to acquire digital gadgets, teachers not prepared to make the shift from traditional face-to-face to online teaching, of higher education institutions not prepared as well at that time, lack of connectivity, changes in research methodologies, no access to laboratories, difficulties in OJT, and many more actually. All teachers and learners were catapulted in going into technology-mediated, flexible, remote, and blended teaching and learning. There was a massive move to go technology-mediated. Have learning modules, asynchronous and synchronous, e-modalities and e-content production, continuity, enhancement, transformation. We were trying to future-proof all the time, and at this time, we really do mean it. We really have to future-proof our higher education institutions with the coordinates of agility, excellence, equity, integrity, transparency, and sustainability. So it's very, very important to have a self-assessment in the quality assurance process, in the governance, the management of pedagogies, modalities, and content production. So there are preliminary general guidelines, highlights of which are flexible learning is a learner-centered approach that is deeply rooted in the needs of the student. Flexibility on the learning content, schedules, access, and innovative assessment, making use of digital and non-digital tools. The exercise of discretion by the HEIs and their faculty must be reasonable, transparent, and outcomes-based validated. HEIs shall formulate decisions using data-driven and participatory approaches on determining and implementing the most viable form of flexible learning and teaching that they will utilize based on their capability, existing condition, national government agency guidelines, and local government unit advisories. As a sustainability and monitoring mechanism, HEIs should submit for information their Learning Continuity Plan, or LCP, to CHED regional offices at the beginning of the academic year 2020 to 2021. And at the time as well, the guidelines were that flexible learning should complement outcomes-based education approach. In terms of learning content, HEIs shall review all their curricular offerings and make the necessary adjustments or modifications in the curricular structures program of study. On the management of learners, HEI shall provide mechanisms to inform and orient learners on the learning system to be implemented, which may be in a form of course packages and are accessible through offline and online modes. HEIs are likewise encouraged to maximize the use of technology to support learning and teaching. HEIs shall implement or explore grants and or support capacity building programs for administrators, faculty, and staff on transitioning to flexible learning. HEIs are encouraged to form consortia, coalition, networking to facilitate capacity building programs in sharing of resources. But let us always be reminded that the implementation of flexible learning by HEIs for both undergraduate and graduate programs should still be guided by the principles of outcomes-based education and by applicable PSGs to assure quality of teaching and learning. There were a number of CMOs on flexible learning were issued to address the need for continuity, technological enhancement, and eventual transformation of education in response to the digital age, whether we are on face-to-face or flexible mode. Let us take note of the CMO-related guidelines that came out during these times. You have CMO 4, that was Series 2020, Guidelines on Implementing of Flexible Learning. CMO 1, Series 2022, Resumption of Face-to-Face Classes. CMO 6, Series 2022, Sustaining Flexible Learning. CMO 9, Series 2022, Updated Guidelines on the Implementation of Face-to-Face Classes. CMO 4, Series 2023, Updated Guidelines on On-Site Learning in Higher Education. And you can access all these online. And now as I speak, the technical panel on distance education has proposed policies and guidelines for open distance and e-learning, ODEL 2024, aligned and harmonized with relevant laws and policies. So we have RA 10650, Open Distance Learning Act. We have CMO 4, Series 2023, Updated Guidelines on On-Site Learning in Higher Education, and other related CMOs. Let us remind ourselves that there is a continuous response from CHED and the higher education institutions realizing that there are numerous learning gains during these digital times, that we are now realizing that we are resolved to engage with a continuous improvement, innovation in quality-assured technology, mediated, flexible teaching and learning. Encouraging HEIs to build up the road to readiness for all forms of teaching and learning, ready to convert at any given time, now in our digital landscape. Continuing development of these areas of on-site, face-to-face, hybrid, blended, remote, through quality-assured, flexible, convertible, technology-enhanced, and technology-mediated teaching and learning are the following: multimedia research, content production for the strengthening of the culture of sharing by continuous production of open educational resources, or OERs, MOOCs, and micro-credentials for lifelong learning for readiness and sustainability, mapping where we are going. That is very important. First, knowing our identity as a university, who we are as different sets of faculties and researchers, with all this and with the end in view that we are mindfully developing learners with the 21st century competencies in an ever-changing digital landscape. Our learners need to be creative, critical thinkers, problem solvers based on empirical data, innovative researchers, have good communication skills, high digital literacy, respectful of cultures, possessed with deep love for our nation, and advocates of lifelong learning for all. At this time, understanding and analyzing our teaching and learning gains is most important. University readiness at all times means institutions' agility, excellence, equity, integrity, transparency, and sustainability. Quality assurance must take place in all levels. In the level of the institution's vision and mission reflect the recognition of the digital times. What we expect our students to learn and to become in our world where exponential changes continuously happen in many aspects of our lives. On the level of the programs offered have well-designed, outcomes-based curricula to ensure mastery and competency of the fields of study, as well as strengthens digital life skills and digital critical media literacy as it socially constructs reality. On the course level, assessment is not an afterthought in our teaching and learning. Design, it is integrated in all aspects, from identifying learning outcomes, so that would be diagnostic, knowing what students know and don't know prior to the course, and then formative, the feedback process needed to improve the activities and learning experience, and to understand and appreciate tools to measure. So then, tools to measure the authentic learning in technology-mediated and technology-enhanced teaching and learning, then that is summative. Why? Because it comes in the end, measuring high-value students' learning at the end of an instructional experience grounded on authentic standards and parameters for evaluation. For accreditors to develop a responsive accreditation process. You know, we cannot overemphasize the need in use of outcomes-based education framework for all levels as guide to the quality assurance system of the higher education institution. The chart in front of you may help to gain some insights in designing our accreditors' toolkits for assessment and evaluation. In the international level, there is the Asian Association of Open Universities QA-based accreditation system for technology-enhanced and technology-mediated higher education, designed for not only open universities, but all universities. It will also be advisable to be updated on this and be familiar with their parameters in evaluating a university's readiness in facing conduct of higher education in the digital era. In moving forward, the higher education institutions' innovation initiatives that go beyond Commission on Higher Education minimum requirements will be the accreditor's guide in knowing what parameters should be included in the designing of the toolkit for assessment and evaluation. The following are some of the examples that you might want to be introduced as parameters of evaluation. Identifying and analyzing high rating indicators of readiness of particular programs that can be delivered through open distance e-learning. And look for level 3 programs that may be ready for going distance education, and it should be existing for the last 5 years or more, and seek and make sure that they have papers seeking GA or government authority to operate from CHED. You can be looking for initiatives on developing and producing MOOCs and micro-credentials for continuing education for lifelong learning. And another would be claiming leadership in the region by conducting annual conferences and workshops for quality-assured, technology-mediated, flexible teaching and learning through sharing best practices. Exploring the establishment of ITV network for content creation to carry open educational resources to be shared among the university's units and campuses, and eventually with university partners. Developing a strong program on innovation and research on e-pedagogies, e-methodologies, showing the importance of e-research as integrated into teaching and learning. And designing a toolkit for self-assessment for QA technology-mediated flexible teaching and learning. As you know, there have been numerous instances where classes are declared asynchronous for different reasons, like if there is flooding in an area, or the climate is too hot and the temperature will be hazardous to health. So we therefore see the importance of flexible and convertible technology-mediated teaching and learning for higher education institution management for agility, sustainability, and excellence. To be ready at all times for quality-assured, technology-mediated, flexible teaching and learning in face-to-face, hybrid or blended, and e-learning or purely online modalities. Thank you very much for joining me in remembering the past, analyzing the present, and moving forward to the future.